In the last video, I started setting up my adventure game. I included some nested types, an enum for compass directions and a location record, as well as a static text block with my board location data. In this video, I'll complete this challenge, including the bonus part, which was to allow customization. To do this, I want to get back to my constructors in the adventure game class, first the one with a single argument. I'm going to call my load locations method, passing the static string game locations. If I wasn't allowing customizations, I'd be done, but I do want to use custom locations, so I'll set up an if statement. If custom locations are passed to this constructor, then I'll call load locations again, passing that data. This is the customization piece. A user can pass in their own locations. These locations will get loaded after the default locations. This means the user's location will replace the default location if the key is already in the map. If custom locations isn't null, I'll load these custom locations. Finally, I want to go back to the noargs constructor and chain it to the other constructor, just passing null. Okay, so that's the code to load the game data. Let's create a new main class and main method and load up this data. I'll create an adventure game called game. That's a new adventure game with nothing passed to the constructor, so no customizations. That's all I have to do to test this part of the code, because remember, I included a print statement after the locations were added in the load locations method. Let's fire this up and see what output we get. You can see the board locations map. First, I've printed out the key, a 1 or 2 word description. Then I've got the location object, which has a description, and a next places nested map. You can see for hill, for example, a player can go north to the forest or east to the road. That's a good start, but now it's time to implement the code to actually play this game. To start, I want a method on the adventure game class called visit that will print out information about the player's current location and where he or she can go next. This will be private and void and take a location. I'll print that the player is standing in that location with a description of the place. I'll also print that they can select the compass position or Q for quit. In between those two statements, I need to include what options the player can pick from. I'll add the text. From here you can see. I'll follow that with a for each call on the locations next places to loop through the options or directions a player has. The lambda I want to use here has 2 parameters representing the key and value of the map, so just K and V there. For each option in the map, I'll print a tab, a bullet point, and a formatted string, with the destination, the full compass string, the available directions, west, east, north, south, and the abbreviation. That's the visit method. In addition to that, I want a method to let the player move based on the direction the player chose. This needs to be public, as I'm going to use it from my client code. It'll have void for the return type. I'll call it move, and it takes a string, a direction. This method needs to first get the next places map from the last place the player was located. It has to check if it's one of the 4 valid directions in the enum, otherwise it prints invalid direction. If they did enter a valid direction, I want to use that as the key to the next places map. If I get null back, then the user picked a direction that's not in the next place map. Remember that not all locations have a place to go for all 4 possible compass directions, otherwise we have a key to the next location. So I'll execute the method play, passing it this next location. Finally, we get to the play method, which is the heart of the game. It's public, as the client will call this method to start the game. This method has a void return type, is named play, and takes a string, the string location of the location to visit, or the location key. I'll use contains key on the adventure map, passing it the location, the string value, to make sure it's a valid location and that it's a key in my map. If it's not, I'll print out that it's not a valid location. Otherwise, I want to retrieve the location record from the adventure map using the location key. I'll assign that to a local variable, which I'll call next. After that, I'll set the last place field to the location key. And I'll call my visit method, passing it the next location record. Before I call this play method, I'm going to go to my load locations method and comment out that last statement so I'm not printing my map at the start. And that's it for my adventure game. I'll go back to the main method and fire the game up. I'll execute play on game to start and pass it the road, which is the starting position. If I run that now, you can see what gets printed. I get the full description of the road from the data provided. I also get the directions I can visit from this location, as well as a short description of what can be found in each direction. I can change my starting position. I'll change the road to lake in my main method. And now I get different output. Okay, so that's the setup. I'm going to undo that last change, so I do start with the road. Next I have to get the response from my player. I'll set up a scanner, then go into a while loop. Inside this loop I'm going to call next line on my scanner, and then change some string methods to that. I'll trim the data I get from the player, I'll make it uppercase, and I'll get the first character of whatever they entered. I'm assigning the result of this to a variable named direction. Next I want to check if the user typed Q or any text that started with a Q, and if they did I'll break out of the loop and end the game. Otherwise I want to call move on the game, passing it the direction entered by my player. Okay, let me run this. Now imagine that you haven't seen my slide with the map on it. You don't know what lies ahead. So which way would you go? I'll start by going south to the valley by typing S at the prompt. And now I'm standing in a forest valley beside a tumbling stream. Let's go check out the stream, so I'll go east. I'll type east in lowercase. That still works, and the output shows I am now standing near a stream with a rocky bed. Let's go to the well house north. I'll enter just a lowercase n here. And there you can see I'm inside a well house for a small spring. I'll quit the game at this point by typing Q. There you go, we have the beginnings of a text-based game. The real game lets you find things in each location, unlock locations and so on, so if this inspires you, you can continue to build on this game. Okay, next the bonus part. I want to let players customize the game's locations. Let's say I want my lake to have a different description, and I want to add some additional destinations from the lake, in addition to the 2 that are already set up. Let me show this to you on a slide. Lake is already in my map, but I want to customize it first by describing it, naming it Lake Tim, and then adding 2 additional destinations from there, a cave to the north and an ocean to the east. The cave and ocean will be additional board locations. Right now from the lake, I can only go west to the forest or south to the well house. To customize the game, I'll add a text block that will have my extra locations in the same format as the default data. I'll include a lake, which will be a duplicate key, and this lake will be Lake Tim. It'll still have forest to the west and a well house to the south, but I'll include an ocean to the east and cave to the north. I'll set up the ocean location and the cave location here as well. I want to pass this text string, my locations, to the adventure game constructor. To make it easier to get the locations, I'll start at the lake location. Running this now. You can see that when I go to the lake, it now says I'm standing at the edge of Lake Tim, and my destinations include an ocean to the east and a cave to the north. Let's check out the cave, so I'll type an N here. Now I'm standing at the mouth of Tim's Bat Cave. Okay, that's kind of fun. For good measure, I'll check out the ocean to the east. And now I'm on Tim's beach before an angry sea. I'll type Q to quit. And that will end the adventure game challenge. How did that go for you? I hope you spent some time on it and have a basis for a game you might like to enhance later. In the next video, I'll be talking about 2 other classes that implement the map interface, and these are the linked hash map and the tree map. I will see you in that video.